all. So this would be about the foreign key concept and how to create it in such a way that if there is a many-to-many relationship. So if there are two tables which are connected to each other and then the third table is dependent on it, we have seen it in the ERD, that is entity relationship diagram. Just would like to tell you that this would be the last lecture of this particular course because it is free course and I can take it up to 2 hours only. Rest of the concept we will be seeing it in the advanced course of the SPL, SQL and the SQL. So here I'm assuming there are three tables. There is one table as company, other table as EMP, and third table I am assuming as locations. So here I have assumed that one company has got many employees and one employee is working with many companies. So if there is a many-to-many relationship, I suppose you must be remembering my entity relationship diagrams lecture on many-to-many relationship. If not, please look into it. So here when we are going to talk about this particular fundamental, I have created three tables. One is company, company ID, company name and telephone number. Company ID is the primary key over here. Location, okay, this employee number and company ID I'll have to create because it's third table and this third table is dependent on the company and the employee. And what is the relationship? Employee related to company in such a way that one employee working with many companies and one company might have many employees. And here I'm assuming that there are people who are working with many companies in such a way that on the contract basis, okay, and they go from location to location in such a way that the different locations will be dependent on the company and the employee. So here in the locations, I have added employee number as one of the column because this is my primary key of employee table and COID as one of the column because COID is one of the column and primary key of the company, and LOC name would be dependent on that employee number and company ID. If the company ID is say 2 and employee number is 1, he is working at location name say Delhi, otherwise he is working at Jaipur or maybe he is working at Bombay or Mumbai, something like that. So this is the idea behind it. I suppose you must have understood what I'm saying. So I added the records, insert into company values, company ID 1, the company name is Tata and the telephone number, and insert into company, yes, second one, and then I can see here this particular select start from EMP. So I can see here the employee table, I can see here the company table which I created in front of you. Now I'll have to work upon adding the records into locations, okay, because locations table is already created. I showed you the description of it by using DESC command, okay. So insert into location values, say some value as 5, any value which I entered, and here as 2 and Delhi, and again I tried to enter but it didn't give me an error, okay, though I entered the repeated values for the company ID and the employee number, still it didn't give me the error over here. Why is it like that? Because I have not given here primary key as the constraint. So I want to add the unique values in this particular table locations. Why is it like that? Because this location would be having the values dependent on CO name and EMP ID, okay. So CO ID or the EMP number. So here it will have this, and in such a way that I am going to insert it in this manner. I am going to insert the values here. So I can see here I added the values, that the employee number and the COID. Now I will try to insert the foreign key on the basis of it. You can see here I have created alter table locations, add foreign key, employee number, references, employee. So this is my foreign key, okay, and in the same manner I will have to create it for the COID also. So here this employee number and COID in locations table would be the foreign. You can see here alter table locations, add constraint, and about the constraints, how to add the constraint, and when there is more than one constraint same type of, we can give the constraint name. That also I have told you all in the previous lectures. Foreign key, COID, references, company. So in this manner I created this, okay. So now when we have entered the foreign key or we have assigned the foreign key to this employee number and the COID, it would take the null values also, or it can take the repeated values also, and that would not be proper for our database whenever we are going to create it. Because if suppose I am saying location name is say X, and employee number is null or company ID is repeated, it won't, that data would not be correct, that data would not be consistent. So we will have to create the primary key for the same, for this employee number and the COID. So what did we do? We created employee table first, later we created company table, later on we created the location. Okay, in the location we added employee number and the COID. They were employee number and COID are nothing but the foreign keys with the primary keys of employee and the company. So this is one foreign key, this is another foreign key. Okay, and these foreign keys are talking about, or they are referencing to employee table and the company table. Now I'm going to create the primary key. So alter table locations add primary key. Now it is going to give me an error because I had added the same records. Can you see here 5.2 and 5.2? So this would not allow me. So for this I will have to delete one of the record. Why is it like that? Because when I'm saying that I'm going to put the primary key constraint on the columns, okay, or then that time the values should be unique, and the values are not unique over here. So you can see here delete from locations where LOC name, location name equal to Jaipur. I deleted one of the record. Now you can see in company 1 company ID, company name is Tata and some telephone number. Company ID 2, company name is B, and some telephone number, in the same manner for the employee. And later on we have got the location. Later on we have got these locations. Okay, now I am going to alter this particular table with the primary key. Why I want to make a primary key, the composite primary key for employee number and COID, because this should not take the repeated values or the null values. So alter table locations add primary key EMPNO, comma CO underscore ID. Why did it write here add constraint name? Because primary key is always 1. This is the composite primary key on the 2 columns. We can create up to 16 columns. Okay. In this manner now, insert into locations whenever I enter 1, 2 Jaipur. Okay. Then that time here, this one is the employee number. Okay. This 2 is the company ID. Fine. And location name is Jaipur. So what is this one employee number 1, that is M, okay, working on with company ID 2, okay, company name B, okay, working at Jaipur. Fine. In this manner we understand how to create the foreign key constraint with respect to many to many relationship, and by making it the primary key. So in this manner we understand this COID is my primary key. Here employee number is my primary key, and this locations would have the foreign key, and over here again another foreign key. They have been made as the composite primary key, where location name is dependent on this, and this location would be dependent on the EMP and the company. That's all. Thank you very much for attending the tutorial. Stay tuned.